The Last Tenant. In the outskirts of a quiet town stood an old boarding house with a grim reputation. It was known as the Haverhill House, and over the years, it had gained notoriety for the mysterious disappearances of its tenants. The house itself seemed almost alive, with creaking floors and whispering walls, and a sense of dread that clung to the very air. The last tenant to move in was a young woman named Lydia. Recently divorced and seeking a fresh start, she found the boarding house's low rent and seclusion appealing. She was aware of the house's dark history, but dismissed it as mere local superstition. Lydia was determined to start anew and focused on her own personal healing. From the moment Lydia stepped inside, she felt an eerie chill. The house was as decrepit as the rumors suggested, dusty, with cobwebs in the corners and faded wallpaper peeling away. Yet, despite the dismal condition, she was determined to make it her home. The first few weeks went by without incident. Lydia settled into a routine and the house seemed quiet, almost too quiet. However, as the days passed, she began to experience unsettling occurrences. She would hear faint, ghostly voices in the middle of the night, murmuring words she couldn't quite understand. At first, she thought it was just her imagination or the house settling. One night, while exploring the dusty attic, Lydia stumbled upon an old locked trunk. It was covered in strange symbols and had a heavy padlock. Her curiosity got the better of her and she managed to pry it open with a crowbar. Inside, she found a collection of old photographs, letters, and a journal bound in cracked leather. The journal was filled with the ramblings of a previous tenant who spoke of a malevolent presence within the house, a presence that grew stronger with each passing year. The journal detailed a disturbing ritual that had been performed by the tenant, a desperate attempt to appease whatever dark entity resided in the house. According to the entries, the entity demanded a sacrifice to remain at peace. The tenant had begun to hear voices demanding that someone would have to stay in the house to satisfy the entity's hunger. Disturbed but skeptical, Lydia tried to dismiss the journal as the ramblings of a deranged mind. But as the weeks went on, the supernatural occurrences grew more intense. The whispers turned into full-blown conversations in the dead of night, and shadows began to move independently of their sources. She would wake up to find her belongings rearranged or missing, as if someone or something was tampering with her possessions. One evening, Lydia came home to find a note pinned to her door. It was scrawled in a shaky hand and read, "I'm sorry. They're coming for you now." The note was unsigned, but Lydia's heart raced with dread. That night, she decided to stay up and confront whatever was tormenting her. As the clock struck midnight, the temperature in the house plummeted. Lydia could see her breath in the icy air. The whispers grew louder, filling the house with a cacophony of anguished voices. The shadows in the corners of the rooms seemed to coalesce into dark, writhing forms, and the house itself seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy. In the attic, Lydia saw the trunk she had opened earlier. It was now slightly ajar, and the contents had shifted. The photographs were of previous tenants, faces twisted in fear and despair. The journal was open to a page with a horrifying drawing of the house and a figure standing in the center, surrounded by ominous symbols. Suddenly, Lydia felt a cold, clammy hand on her shoulder. She spun around to find herself face to face with a spectral figure, a gaunt, hollow-eyed apparition that seemed to be a composite of the previous tenants. Its mouth moved silently, but Lydia could hear its voice clearly in her mind, demanding that she stay, that she be the next sacrifice to appease the entity. Panicked, Lydia fled from the attic and ran through the house, trying to escape the encroaching darkness. The walls seemed to close in on her, and the whispers became deafening, full of rage and sorrow. She reached the front door, but it was locked tight, and no matter how hard she tried, it wouldn't budge. The next morning, the house was silent. The front door was found ajar, but Lydia was nowhere to be seen. Her belongings were scattered around the house, and the journal was left open on the floor, with a new entry added in Lydia's handwriting, begging for help and pleading to be released from the entity's grip. The Haverhill House remained abandoned, its reputation solidified by Lydia's disappearance. The townspeople spoke of hearing anguished cries and seeing flickering lights in the windows, as if the house was alive and hungry for its next tenant. The boarding house stood as a haunting reminder of the darkness that can dwell within the walls of an old, forgotten place.
Enjoyed the content? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more awesome videos your way. Don't forget to click the bell icon to stay updated with all our latest uploads. Thanks for watching.